Hey, as difficult as it may be to remember so on a daily basis, many of the challenges you face today are actually the fulfillment of your past self's dreams. Now, I'm not talking about issues like starvation or lifelong imprisonment here, that's why I said some. But what I mean is that over time, we tend to lose the appreciation we have for the things and people we have in our lives. By making a conscious effort to practice gratitude even in the face of adversity, we not only enhance our own quality of life, but we actually become a much more pleasant person to deal with. Let me elaborate. I recently moved out of my apartment, and as I was preparing my move, I became increasingly annoyed about everything about it. The fridge was way too loud and wouldn't properly close. It was a studio apartment, so that means that I had to cook, eat, work, and sleep all in the same room. And also, it was at the very end of town, which means that getting home after an evening out was a huge hassle. As I was preparing this move, I was getting increasingly annoyed with having to still stay in that place and getting very excited about being rid of all these things. But at some point, I started reminiscing about what it was like when I first moved into that apartment. I moved into that apartment at 18 years old when I just started university. And I did so from a living situation that wasn't all that great. So this apartment actually was my first safe space ever, because it was the first place I ever lived in that was truly my own. Do you think I was complaining about the fridge back then? No. I couldn't believe how lucky I was to actually have this fridge, to have a place of my own, because this was such a big upgrade to my life that I was grateful for it. The fact that at this point in my life I've outgrown that apartment and came to view it as a problem doesn't make the apartment itself less worthy. And it doesn't mean that I can't be grateful for all the years I spent there and the space it allowed me to heal and grow. So as I started packing my things and cleaning the spaces that hadn't been cleaned in a while, I leaned into the gratitude I had first felt when I moved into that apartment. And I essentially thanked it for allowing me to transform into the person that I am today, because I moved there as a teenager and I left as an adult. And if anything, leaning into that gratitude at least made the process of moving much more enjoyable than if I had been a grouch about the entire thing. Maybe this is a silly example, but I argue that for everyone watching this, there's something you can be grateful for right now. For example, if you want to reach through the screen to throttle me, that means that you have access to the internet, a device you can watch this on, and hands you could potentially throttle me with. It means that you have eyes to watch this and ears to hear this with. It means that up until this point, you've had air to breathe, food to eat, and water to drink. I'm not saying this to shame you or to make you feel bad, and I know that it doesn't erase your problems. What I'm saying is that there are things in your life you're probably not appreciating, and by doing so, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity for gratitude. Because gratitude is the most beautiful, empowering emotion I know. I'm talking about real gratitude here, not forced gratitude you perform because your parents disapprove if you don't thank your aunt for her inappropriate comment, or you pretend to practice because you feel some condescending YouTuber is shaming you into it. But true gratitude that fills us with warmth and with joy and helps us deeply appreciate life as it is. I know this might feel difficult. Deep down, we all know that we could be more grateful for the things we have. And if we have troubles with our self-esteem, then this realization can easily become a self-shaming exercise. I've definitely been at the point where my life felt so difficult that I didn't think I had any gratitude to give. And at the same time, I was ashamed of the fact that I lived such an objectively privileged life and didn't even have the decency to be grateful for it. The bad news is that gratitude is definitely one of these things that have to be practiced in order to get easier. But the good news is that you can begin right now. So right now, and I mean this, right now, find one thing, personal circumstance in your life, just one, that you can be grateful for, and really lean into that feeling. Maybe journal about it, because that can be easier than feeling into the sensations of our body if we're not used to that. And do so for 2 minutes. If 2 minutes feels so difficult, then do it for 20 seconds, because you can do anything for 20 seconds. For example, right now, I feel gratitude that I can speak about this topic, which is very dear to me, in a language that isn't my native language, because I took the time to learn it. And I can communicate my thoughts across time and space to people because I can record a video on this device I have, I can share it over the internet and on a platform I have. What you'll notice is that as you lean into this feeling, there's this warmth and expansiveness flowing throughout your body. If you've never consciously practiced gratitude before, then this might actually feel uncomfortable. And if you can make this a practice, for example, at the end of your day, taking 2 minutes to consider what you're grateful for at the moment, then I promise you that your life will be transformed in so many ways. It's especially when we're feeling so overwhelmed by our lives that we don't feel we have any gratitude to give, that we need to practice this the most. If you're still struggling with gratitude, it might be because your life feels completely overwhelming. And if that's the case for you, then I encourage you to look at my last video where I discuss why we tend to overcomplicate our lives and how, in order to let go of that habit, we need to let go of control. My name is Zhenya. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.